can't be chewing.
No, that's true. It's hard to do both.
But I don't like sit at home awaiting, the release dates on these and say, oh, I can't wait for these movies to come out. And it's not like something that I really get off on. It's really working that I really love, and if the movie's really a good movie, then I love watching it. But it's still kind of hard to watch yourself. So it's but I don't know.
Why do you think you're so popular now, suddenly? Why do you think you are not a million other Hollywood hopefuls?
I don't think about it. It's we moved from LA recently, and it's like I've been away from it all. I just don't think about it, and I don't know. I don't. It's weird to me. I mean, when people say you're popular or this and that, it's in a way it's like it reminds me of something that I'm not even really aware of. It's I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of I guess lucky to work on good stuff, and I've been working pretty steadily. But I really don't take it personally. If it wasn't me, it would probably be someone else. Well, I don't know. I don't see myself as a star. I see myself as someone who can get involved in a character and forget the camera's there, and just in some cases, not in everything that I've done, but in some movies I've kind of just lived the part and the camera captures it, and it turns out all right. But I don't see myself like as a star or someone who, I don't know. But if other people say that, it's very flattering, and it's weird though, because it's like, what did I do? What did I do? I don't know. I just gotta stay true to the character. That's all that really matters to me. And if they accept you, then great. And if they don't, then make good movies. And the people who do appreciate your work, that's all that matters. Commercial success to me isn't what I'm in it for. It's well, first off, it's a great way of expressing yourself, and it's very fulfilling in that way. And it's kind of fun, escaping your reality and playing other characters, and having an excuse to lose yourself. So often, people are trying to find themselves, and it's just kind of fun to say, no, I'm not going to find myself. I'm going to lose myself and find someone else. And that's kind of fun. Well, I mean, every movie's different, and they need different things. I mean, some movies you gotta act more. I mean, you can't just be. It has to be. I don't know. It's like for instance, Jimmy Burton. You can't just play it out in the most realistic way. It has to be. You have to. I learned a lot from that. You have to entertain people, and you have to. There's a lot of different stuff involved, and I felt like I was probably more true to my characters, and it was like Stand By Me, Mosquito Coast, and Nikita. It was kind of hard because, from an actor's perspective, it's just a hard thing to sell yourself on, and.
You mean the character?
Yeah, it's a weird situation because you don't really have anything to draw from, as far as just being completely disappointed in life. I mean, it's not that he's disappointed. I mean, he's so happy with life and everything's going really good, and then out of nowhere, everything is just taken away from him, and he's really confused, and it's a hard transition to go through, and I guess I just. I don't know, I tried. I mean, we'll see how it turns out. It's hard for me to be objective, when I watch that kind of stuff, but,
Well, what do you use as criteria for accepting a role?
Well, in many cases it was just, wanting to work, and wanting to do, the next thing that wanted you. It's like, for the first time, I walked in at Island Pictures, and Bill Richard, the director, was there, and he was like, "Oh my God, you're the part," and he just handed it to me, and it was like so flattering, and it was something that, I read the script, and I liked the script. I thought it was, interesting. It had some different qualities, and he was so passionate about it. And then we talked about it, and you know, it's just that I don't know. It was more when I read the script and when we talked about it. It was more about the time and about this guy who was kind of a pseudo beatnik, who was really into this poetry and someone who was rebelling against his father because his father was so cold and brittle, and how he was unfulfilled as far as in the love department, and how in that one night he was just looking for love in all the wrong places, really, and how he had to learn the hard way, and how he was aimlessly falling through life, and you just don't know if all that's going to come through, if all that's going to make sense, when it's all cut together. And I actually haven't seen the final product. I saw an early on rough cut. I haven't seen the final picture. It's I don't know. It's a hard thing. I mean,
When you deal with executives in the film industry, I'm kind of curious. Do they treat you like they do an adult actor, or do they are they condescending because you're so young? How do you feel about it?
well, usually I don't let them get away with treating me like an actor, just because I'm not going to act like a little kid actor. I'm going to talk to them on their level. But I've learned a lot, and I was, I think, very naive to a lot of things as far as in the business department. And, I was intimidated by these people with this power, and I felt like I had an obligation to just do whatever came along, and to work because you don't know where you stand, and I don't know where I stand because at the time I didn't know where I stood because Stand By Me hadn't been released, and I was like, I signed for Nikita and Reardon at the same time, and I felt that Nikita was going to be a major contrast to Reardon, so I was happy with that. I felt that it was going to be a stretch, from one to the other, and anyone that has seen Reardon, I would hope that they go to see Nikita too, and
Yeah, they're very different.
yeah, the characters are very different, and that's what I wanted. I kind of wanted that challenge, and it's a good experience, It's all a learning experience, and I've learned a lot, and I'm thankful for that.
It's interesting. Your parents are your managers.
Mm.
It's hard enough as a kid to take orders from your parents on a daily basis on the home front, but when they're also controlling your career, how do you deal with that? That's going to be really hard.
Well, first off, my parents do not control my career. I have complete control over the decision making, and they give me some good advice, and they're really the middleman in between me and the business and publicity and all this kind of stuff. They take care of a lot of that, and it's nice to have that unity because we're all kind of working for the same thing. They also manage my younger brothers and sisters, and it's not like I'm taking orders from them at all. It's like we work together, and it's so comforting to know that you're in the hands of someone that really loves you. Your mom and dad are taking care of you, and it's not like a business thing. It's like the only thing is that sometimes it's hard because talking about the career and this and that. Sometimes I forget they're my parents, and I might treat them like a manager, and you just got to be careful not to I don't know. It's
You don't want to show them that you're not appreciative. You want them to still know that you love them, even though you may disagree, right?
exactly. For instance, my father didn't want me to do Jimmy Reardon.
Why?
Well, he wanted me to do what I wanted to do. It's like he just felt that it didn't go along with a lot of things that he doesn't believe in the actor's excuse of it's a character. It's not me, you know. And he feels like, you know, it was compromising, you know, beliefs that we might have, you know, as far as you know, the I guess the sexual situations, and he was also you know, I guess very cautious. You know, he didn't want me to you know, do something that was going to come off wrong, you know. And
How'd you convince them otherwise?
well, I didn't have to convince him. I just, you know, the director convinced me. So from then on, I really, it was interesting. You know, we sat down in the room, Bill and I, and he's really a passionate guy. I like his films, Winter Kills and Success, with Jeff Bridges. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And yeah, they're like cult films now, but they're really interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting, and he's such an interesting man, and he was so passionate about the script, and we got into the details of this and that, and the whole time, and the beatnik time, which I was very interested in at the time, and how something that I kind of felt was lost is his love between how much he really did love, you know, his girlfriend in the movie, and how that's, you know, that's what the story was about. You know, he wanted to raise money so that he could go to Hawaii and go to school with her, and it kind of got lost, like in the night, and maybe it should, because that's what happened. He got lost, really. He went on a little crazy detour or something. And
So when you accepted that role and your dad had expressed reservations about it, did you resolve that? I mean, once you did it, did he forgive you for going against what he felt was right?
well, I mean, he understood, and he wanted me basically to do what I felt, you know, was, you know, right. And I don't know. I mean, it's like I've just, I see, at the time, you know, my biggest problem with making that decision is not that you know, that the movie was, you know, not good. It was, I mean, it turned out good, and I think I don't know. It's just that at the time I didn't realize the responsibility I had, you know, to a lot of, you know, fans, speaking about, you know, the kids, and as far as, you know, their image of, you know, Chris Chambers, and they identify me with that kind of person, and it was from that to Mosquito Coast and then to Reardon. I think it was a real disappointment to them, in the sense that they really, you know, that they just, I don't know, I think that they were confused, and it kind of ruined that tragic hero image that they all had in their mind, and that's all right. I mean, you know, because, you know, as an actor, you have to play different parts, and you have to take chances, but you know, I hope that, you know, it didn't offend anyone. But it was rated R. They weren't supposed to see it. I mean,
Do you feel an obligation to your fans? Do you feel you owe them something?
well, I'll tell you the truth. I feel like my obligation is to, you know, be true to my characters, and to you know, give it my all on the movies, and sometimes, you know, through fan letters and this, they really expect a lot out of you. You know, they want you to, you know, personally, you know, write back and advise them on their problems, and they want to help you with your problems, and they don't realize that you're getting, you know, I don't mean this in a, you know, in a bragging way, but they don't realize that you get, like, you know, 4,000 letters a week, and it's impossible. I mean, if I was to, you know, write back all, and there's so many great letters. I mean, these people are really, you know, genuinely, you know, touched, you know, usually by, you know, performance, or they just like you, or in a lot of cases it's just, you know, oh, they think you're cute. So it's not nothing that I take personal, because if it wasn't me, it'd probably be someone else, but you still can't ignore them. So it's I feel a tremendous pressure at times about that, and that bugs me because, I don't think that they're aware of what I'm dealing with, and they think that this is like what my life is, and I don't know. It's like I gotta allow myself to be a kid, and I gotta forget about the stuff. If I'm always reminded of my career, if I'm always living in this, you know, this movie land, things will get messed up. I gotta really, I guess, stay away from that and not think about it so much.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah, right. I gotta live, life, and that's a job, and so often, in a job like this, it totally consumes you, and you like become an image that they create, and that's something that I've learned. I used to be very dumb with pictures and not knowing what the photographer wanted and trying to please them, wearing their clothes and put your hand like this, put your hand on the chin and do all these stupid poses that aren't me, with these hairdos and you look like some kind of wannabe model, and it's something that it's the last thing I want to be, and so you take these pictures and then they're like sold everywhere. You see them over all these teen magazines, and it's so depressing for me. It's like they manufacture this image and they try to make you something that you're not. And I've been lucky, really. I mean, still they've kind of always implied that I'm not just any old guy, that I have something different, which is nice, but still it's so generic, when you see these pictures on the, everyone looks like everyone, and it's like, I don't know, that's the part of the business that I'm not really attracted to. I mean, I would rather just concern myself with the actual movie making.
You were saying that there's one thing that people do say about you, and that you are socially aware, socially conscious, and there was something written about you recently that you were interested in developing for troubled kids, like a home for troubled kids. If you are socially aware, I mean, that one of the things with your generation, drugs and alcohol are a really big problem. I mean, do you feel like with the Jimmy Reardon thing that this kind of image for kids is real frightening because they might pick up on it? How do you feel about that today?
Yeah, the way you gotta combat that is you gotta make stands on your own. You gotta speak out as in interviews like this. About who you are. And people need to know that what you portray in a movie, that's not you. And I still, just because I'm probably a little selfish, I would rather not have to take a real nasty character home with me, and I don't want to portray, I like to do something that, means something, and it's all been done before, too. I mean, it's not like there's a real need to see a lot of that.
How do you stay away from all that drugs and alcohol? I mean, there was an article that on the Mosquito Coast there was a lot of stuff going around. And
yeah, that's something that I would definitely like to correct. It's something.
It's not true?
Well, it's the way it turns out. What I had said was that Central America is like a drug capital, and I was speaking about how that was one of the cultural things down there, but I wasn't implying that the set was consumed with that, and how it gets turned around. It's I guess they have to cut down things. They have to make the article shorter. They take things out, also because I don't know, it makes it sound more interesting, I suppose, but.
So it wasn't true that on the set there was all this drugs, but inside.
Well, I mean, there could have been, but I wasn't involved, and nor do I know if there were.
How do you stay away from all that stuff when it's the pure pressure and it's going around and it's so easy to do? What can you tell other kids to say, hey, I don't do it, so you don't have to? I mean, what can you tell them?
Right. Well, I mean, basically, you gotta know what you feel is right, and you should just stand by it and not, you can be tempted, and that's easier said than done, but really, it's something like people are, it's a trap. It's not even that it's fun. It's something that, you just, if people get into it, they just get into it, and then it's really hell. It's living hell, and there's just like no escape, and it's a real trap. And so the best way of dealing with it is just not to get involved and stay away from it. Really.
Well, they might say, well, if you haven't tried it, you don't know what's going on.
Right. Well.
I mean, have you ever tried it? Have you ever, just to see what it's like?
What do you mean, anything in particular?
Oh, I don't know. Coke, I guess, is the most prevalent thing. Most people, I mean, they say that most people have tried it at some point. I mean,
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, the feel, they say, if you had, and then you said, well, I don't think it's worth it, then kids would go, oh, well, then at least he knows what he's talking about. And if you haven't tried it, they might go, well, then he doesn't know what he's
Yeah,
talking
right.
about.
Well, I don't know. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. It's just something that I would definitely not get near. I stay away from it. And I'm not implying that I ever had any, drug problems, but I mean, I don't know. I'm the type of person that I can just get into anything. It's like if I have a guitar around, I'll play guitar all day long. If I'm into the beach, I'll have a great time on the beach all day long. And so whatever you get into, I get really involved. So it just seems obvious that, if I was to open up the drug door, that I could easily get sucked in and become very compulsive. So I just stay away from it,
That's great. Talking about the guitar, I know when I came in, you were playing. That's a big part of your life, isn't it?
I enjoy it. I really do enjoy guitar, and it's very fulfilling. And I love writing songs just for myself, and
What kind of songs do you write?
what kind of songs? It's really hard to put a finger on it. I'm not really into, labels, but I don't know. Maybe you could kind of say it's something like progressive, ethereal folk rock. It's like
That's interesting. Did you coin that?
no, actually, a friend said that that's what they thought it was. I mean, I always thought it was like progressive rock, and they said it's progressive, ethereal folk rock. And I said, okay, that makes sense. It's probably sounds folky because it's just me and a guitar, but I'm not really. It's something that I just like keeping to myself, and I just get great satisfaction out of it, and it's like my own little escape, and it's like a coin collection, I guess.
Why do you want to keep it to yourself? Why don't you want to? I'm sure that you could get a record contract.
Yeah, but it's too predictable, and it's too popular now. People are doing that so much now that it would just seem like I'm falling into a trend, and I also don't feel like if later on I feel like I want to share my music, then I can decide that it's not going to like disappear. But I don't feel like there's a need to. Right now I'm expressing myself through something else, and that's fine. And I really don't think about that. I just know that I enjoy it now, and that's that, and it's a great time.
Do you find that you have like your life in Florida? I mean, here you are. You do a lot of films. You go all over the world, and then you're in a small town living in a mobile home in Florida. It seems like such a contrast.
Well, we're renting a house now. Actually, we moved out of the mobile home. Yeah, we were there for a while. Now we're renting a house.
Well, but how does it feel? I mean, here you are in a small town, and
Oh God,
you feel. I mean, does it feel a little confining?
it feels so great. It feels so nice to get out of Los Angeles. No offense, but in my situation now, I wouldn't want to be here, and I'd probably be a lot different if I would have hung out here, and if I would have, been invited to too many publicity parties, and if I would have taken them up on the offer. It's just something that you gotta stay away from, and I don't mean publicity parties, but just like there's a certain showbiz crowd, and everyone wants to. People that are in showbiz, they all get together and they get into their own little world that I find quite icky, and I feel like it's something that I want to shed. I want to shed that skin and just be on my own. I'm not really into the glamour of it all, and it's something that I don't want to go to premieres and have my picture taken. I don't feel good looking in People magazine and seeing my picture, and it to me that's not like what I'm doing it for. It's the actual movies and the characters that I'm about, and publicity is important, to publicize the film and inform the public that there's a film that's going to be released, and to talk about it and do this. It's an important and vital thing to a movie success, but I really stay away from all of it.
So your friends are basically not in the entertainment field?
No, it's and I'm not the kind of person. I'm not extremely social. I mean I don't like go dating and go to movies with people, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that I kind of went through a lot of that, not a lot of that, but I experienced a lot of it when I was younger, and it's something that I just don't feel. It's just boring, to be honest.
It's boring?
Well, it's just the typical situation of at a drive-in theater in the back seat and all that kind of stuff. And there's different dates, I guess, where you can go out to dinner and have a great conversation and hang out. But I just don't like. I just hate the term dating, and I hate girlfriend, boyfriend. Are you going steady? That whole thing. I just don't like it. It's. I guess it's really the terminology you use. I would just.
Well, what's your right?
I like getting together with friends, like in a living room or in a comfortable place, and talking. Maybe messing around, doing improv games, maybe, or just really just talking and breaking through the barriers and communicating. And I think communicating is the most rewarding thing in a relationship, and so often it's so unsuccessful, and so often it's not real. It's in a very, you deal with people in a very superficial, kind of distant way, and it's nice when you can really get to know someone. So that's what I look for in relationships, really. But I'm just a romantic person in general, and just in life, so many things appeal to me as being romantic, and I'm not, I think I'm kind of, I'm too young to, get engaged or anything, and so I mean, I love a pretty, I have good friends, and I'm very thankful, and it's pretty consistent, but. I mean, usually it's my family that are the most consistent because I'm with them the most. I'm living in that, situation. So that's usually the most that's going on. As far as going to sleep, waking up, having breakfast. Being a kid, really, and that's something that I've really enjoyed doing. Jumping on trampolines and swinging on rope swings off of hills and dropping and rolling and just being a crazy kid and running around playing hide and go seek with my little siblings. It's a fun thing to do, and I haven't done it in so long. It's great to get back to that. So.
Do your siblings find that they resent you at all? Because I mean, here they are trying to act too, and you're getting all the publicity. You're getting all the roles. You're getting all the publicity, and they're trying hard too. There must be some kind of. I mean, I know they love you.
Well, we're all very different. We're all individuals, and we all have our own thing. And to be honest, there really isn't any rivalry because we just all have our place and our own personality. And as far as the success goes, a lot of them would not want to be in my position. A lot of them are very happy with living, compared to what I'm living, an underground lifestyle, it would be something that would make them feel very uncomfortable, especially at that age. You don't want to deal with, new people that you meet on that level. You just want to be a kid, And right now, they're not really trying that hard to be actors and actresses. My brother came out with me on this publicity tour, and, he auditioned for, a few things, and, he was excited to do that. But, we moved out of Hollywood, and we all knew that we were really kind of saying goodbye to a lot of, the auditions and the trying out, and we've just really kind of formed a whole new life, and we've kind of just dropped out of the showbiz.
Tell me a little bit about Running on Empty, because that's your next film coming out, and probably when this article comes out, that'll probably be getting a lot of talk. You've been quoted as saying that's your favorite film. Is that inaccurate?
Well, it's accurate only because usually the last thing I do is my favorite. It's the thing you feel closest to. Let me give you a little background on Running on Empty, if you like. It's about two ex-radicals from the late 60s and early 70s, played by Judd Hirsch and Christine Lottie, and they really give a great performance. I recently saw a screening, and I play their son, and it picks up now, in present, and it's dealing with something that they had done in the past. They were a part of blowing up a napalm laboratory that manufactured napalm for the Vietnam War, and it was an act of consciousness at the time, and they felt that it was important to them, and anyway, they're dealing with the consequences. They're living underground, and they're running from the law, and they're moving month to month sometimes, and sometimes they live in a place for a year, and they change their names under different identities, and they're very dishonest with themselves, and they have to be, and that it's about, living a lie, really. And
About your character.
my character is also living a lie, and when the film picks up, he just starts to become aware of a lot of things, and he becomes very opinionated for the first time, and he gets closer to his true feelings, and he stands up and tells his dad how he feels about his lifestyle and about how it's not comfortable, and he meets someone in the new town that they moved to during the film, and it's the first time that he can ever be honest with someone. It takes time, of course, to get to that point, but he finally tells them everything, and that's really the relationship in the film that brings him out of himself, and he starts admitting, so much, and he's a concert pianist. He's not a concert pianist, but he's a really good pianist, and he wants to be a concert pianist, and that's like his ticket out of the situation. I mean, he could audition for like a really good music school, and if he was accepted, then he might be able to do that, but his parents, have to decide whether they want to let him go or not, so that's like the big decision, should we, let go of this, and it's not action-packed, in the sense that, we're running from the law a lot, and there is some suspense, but it's more about the people and how they're dealing with the situation, and how it's a very important time, and the family, has to break up, and it's a touching film, I think, and it's a real honest film.
Did you have to learn how to play the piano in that?
Yeah, I did, and it was fun because I wanted to play piano that summer. I was going to take piano lessons, and then I get this part that calls for a pianist, and I get free lessons. Oh, it was great.
That's great.
Yeah.
You love
After seeing Running on Empty, I feel this pressure to match it, kind of like how I felt after Stand By Me and Mosquito Coast. So I don't know if I can, but I'll let you know if I do. You'll be the first to know.
So word about what happened at the fairgrounds, ever.
What's the matter, Ford? Don't you like eggs? Ford.